Hey, Dave, obviously an incredibly exciting matchup between you guys and the Giants tomorrow. What are you just looking forward to most about facing the Giants again?
I think as far as expectation, I think probably the thing I'm looking forward to most is, I think right now everything outside of the game and the series. I think it's part of the fun about being in a series like this with a rival, the fan, anticipation, the media, kind of certainly anticipation, but also looking back on history and a lot of stories start to come out. Um, it's we've been two of the best teams all year in baseball, and so to see us go head to head in a series, it's really exciting for our players, and just kind of seeing how our guys can respond.
And with Walker and Julio, with their experience in the postseason last year, the success that they've had, how does that really prove to be a benefit for them as they prepare for Game 1 and Game 2?
I think the thing is the experience allows you to not let the game speed up, the moment be too big. Um, so I think that we certainly have that covered, and there's a lot of guys in that clubhouse who can say the same thing. So I mean, it's two really good ball clubs, and certainly having Julio and Walker kind of taking the baseball, feel confident.
Go to the back over here.
Hey, Dave. Obviously, you and Gabe Kapler go back a ways. Jacksonville. You guys played together in Boston. Just during those times as teammates, what memories do you have of him?
Very good teammate, very good preparer, competitor. Always has been good with his diet. I think he like myself, would like to think that we maximize the most out of our talents in our baseball careers. Really good leader, always has been.
He says that when he watches you manage, that he sees your intensity. When you see him manage, what do you see?
I see a consistent demeanor. There's no panic. He's always been cerebral, ahead of things. The game doesn't speed up on him. I see communication with his coaches. And you've seen, over the last couple of years, the trust from the players in him.
Just one last one from me. Obviously yesterday you had to get through 4 2/3 innings there after you pulled your starter. We've seen you do this kind of a number of times over the years, but every time you do it, I mean, does it get any easier? Does it change at all? Does the experience, change that process at all for you?
It certainly doesn't get easier. It's certainly not scripted as some people might think it might be. That's definitely not my ideal scenario. I think it's just something that, you've got to use all the information. You got to use your eyes, your gut, everything to ultimately make a decision and be willing to live with the result. So that won't be my plan tomorrow night or the next night. But if it comes to that situation, I'm going to have to make a decision. So to your question, Dylan, it doesn't get easier, no.
We'll go to Janie in the front here.
Hi, Dave. Dylan kind of beat me to a similar question following him up. Gabe says he embraces butterflies, nerves, adrenaline, whatever you want to call it. And he went after the World Series in '04 in Boston. He went to play in Japan and couldn't find the nerves, and he really struggled. Did you ever observe moments where you saw him getting up for games where he looked that way, that maybe then he had a good performance or anything like that?
I think when he gets like that, there's more gum in his mouth. He chews a lot more gum. He's an intense guy, so he certainly had ways to kind of combat that, or as he put it, embrace it. We all have kind of some type of adrenaline and emotions that we got to kind of corral to have clarity.
And Dave, he also, with all the connections in this series, with Gabe and Farhan's connections to the Dodgers and you to this franchise, he kind of said, put the cross-pollination aside. We're just two teams trying to do everything right to win. I mean, do you kind of look at it the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's certainly a mutual like and a certain mutual respect from people to the organizations. But outside of that, we're trying to win a series, and they're in our way.
Go all the way to the back here.
Hey, Dave, there's been a lot of talk all season long about the physical grind of going back to 162 games. But with you and the Giants race being so close for the last couple of months, can you talk about the mental grind that you had to go through? And especially with winning last night, have you started to see any mental fatigue among your guys at all?
I do know that, and I appreciate the question. I think for me, I talk more about the mental grind than the physical grind. I think the lazy way to look at it is the physical part of it. But if you're laying it out there every single day and focusing for 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours a night in the postseason, you should be considerably more taxed mentally. To your question, our guys are ready and built to play through October. And so that's part of the overarching long view look, but also how do you narrow it to one game at a time? And so those two together allows you to play through October every year. And so for us, that's not a concern of mine.
We'll go right here in the front.
Hey, Dave, with this, you basically got a front row view of this new Giants regime and being in the same division. Like, what did that tide start to turn in your eyes, seeing them as really like a hurdle for you guys?
Well, they had a very good run with Brian Sabian, obviously Larry, Bruce Bochy, and then the changing of the guard with Farhan and bringing on Gabe, new coaches, and kind of a whole new culture mindset, I guess. So it took some time. I can't pinpoint exactly when, but there was a point, I don't know if it was spring training this year or what, where they kind of bought in, and it wasn't a fluke that they got off to a good start, and they proved to be the best team all regular season. So I don't know the point. I just know that they came out as a unit this year.
And then with Cody, I mean, do you expect to maybe rely on him a little bit more, especially in center field in this ballpark, just considering how it plays and with postseason and everything
Yeah,
like that?
I do. I think that this ballpark, obviously, you got to have a guy that can cover the grass out there, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't start all 3 games in center field.
Go to Jorge in the back.
Dave, in talking to Trey last week, he had experienced a wild card game a couple of years ago. He said it's actually a good thing, if you survive it, right? Like the rhythm of, having to play another game. Do you think there's something to that, to not having those 4 days off and kind of staying in rhythm?
Yeah, I think I do. I do. It could go the other way, depending on how Walker comes out and throws a baseball and how. But I do think that, kind of in a vacuum, I do think that playing a 1-game elimination and coming out of it, needing the off day to kind of reset a little bit, but to go into a longer series, I don't think that we're going to come in complacent. We're going to still come in with an edge and a sense of urgency. But getting over that elimination game, it was a big deal, and I do think that should be beneficial. It should benefit us. Yeah.
When you play a team 19 times and it's as intense as it is, when you guys are doing your preparation, your information gathering, you're turning every stone, do you find anything new? Is there like anything different? There's a few players as far as on the pitching side that we're not too familiar with. We have a little familiarity with these guys, and I think conversely, they've seen pretty much our hand, I think. So now it's kind of, there's not a whole lot of tricks. They sort of play the game straight. We play the game straight. It's who's going to be a better team that particular night, who's going to play better baseball that particular night, and who's the first team to win 3 games. So I think the familiarity and all the games we've played all year have essentially been pretty close and,
call or a play here could have swung it the other way.
And when you mentioned pitchers, is Duvall the first guy?
That's the first guy I think of.
What have you seen based on numbers?
He's got a
and
good
video?
arm. It's cutter. It's slider. It's 97 to 100. He's young and inexperienced, but he's shown to pitch huge innings, and they've shown that they trust him in leverage.
And how many pitchers do you expect to add to your roster, and have you made a final decision on that?
We're contemplating 12, 13, something like that.
We'll go to Juan here up front.
Hey, Dave. Well, kind of talking about this rivalry. When you played in Yankees Red Sox in the playoffs, did it feel like a playoff series, or did it kind of feel a little bit different, given the rivalry and the fan bases and all that stuff?
As far as the regular or the postseason?
In the postseason, yeah. Like when you played in that rivalry in the postseason.
Yeah, it felt like a rivalry. I think that there was a lot of disdain with the Yankees and the Red Sox. It was crazy. Where this is a little bit more, I don't want to use the wrong words, but a little bit more. Yeah, it was different. Oh, that's safe. It was different. That rivalry in the postseason. You're talking about families worried about their health and safety, and it was scary at times. Yeah.
And obviously, this was a little bit different. But as a player, does it take a little while to kind of adjust to maybe the intensity that's going to come with this?
I think it does, and I haven't talked to Trey about it, but Max and I have talked a little bit about kind of this is different, and he Max in particular has been around for so long and accomplished everything on a baseball field, but being in a true rivalry like this, and hearing Dodger Stadium like that. And how we're going to hear it against the Giants and a true, generational rivalry. It's different. It's absolutely different, and it's. I wish everyone that put on a baseball uniform could be a part of this rivalry, or as you said, the Sox Yankees.
We'll go to Janie again.
Hi, Dave. Albert was outside a bit ago, just by himself, standing there on the dugout rail, and just kind of seemed to be soaking it in a little bit. Can you imagine how thrilled are you for him to get this chance on the October stage again?
I'm extremely thrilled. I think that the only way last night could have been any better is if he would have walked him off. But I think he's at a point in his career where he's just soaking in every moment, because we can talk about nothing is guaranteed, and be grateful for your opportunity to play baseball, but he's at the point where it's like you never know. And so I think that whether it's coming out early before an off-day workout or having a holding court with a couple teammates, those things like that, those are big because, father time, like they say, is undefeated. So I love that, and I love our players seeing him take it all in, because I think that that's really important for everyone.
Any last questions for Dave? Go last one back here.
Dave, what are your thoughts for first base, Matt Beatty? Kind of what are you thinking for this series?
Yeah, he's going to be a big part of it. I'm not prepared to kind of give those guys, the full lineup, but he makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.